Welcome to this video. Today's topic that we're going to dive into is how to be your most productive self. This is a question that I have thought about a lot, and often at the essence of it is, am I fulfilling my potential? And I can get a lot done, but if it doesn't feel aligned with my values, with my vision, I can still feel empty at the end of the day. So during this video, it's going to be more of a raw rant style version of this, and I'm just going to be talking through what has worked and what hasn't worked for me with productivity, because this is one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot lately, about maximizing the productivity for myself, for the teams that I'm working on with different film projects, and how to get the most out of myself and the most out of other people in a way that feels good. You know, one of the first things that I want to talk about is I really loved Ali Abdaal's book, Feel Good Productivity. And the essence of it, for those of you who don't know who Ali is, he is an incredible YouTuber who's been studying productivity and different productivity hacks for a long time. The thing that I really loved about this book and the essence of it was the secret to productivity is joy and approaching our work from a place of joy. So some of the things that have worked for me has been making things fun and making them easy. If I'm wanting to do something that is important to me, how can I make this more fun and more enjoyable for myself? So that is one of the things that has worked for me. The other one that I've found really useful is having and setting a timer. So this is something that I do most days. If I am writing, I will pick up my phone, set a timer on my phone, and write for 30 minutes, do whatever task I need to. I've found working for 30 minutes non-stop and then having a break and sort of a movement break for 5 to 10 minutes where I move my body, where I focus on mindfulness. Having that balance where you work intensely and I know my whole job is just to focus on this task and then I'm going to have a break, I've found has made me much more productive. And when I move my body, it's been it sounds simple, but it's been one of the things that I feel has helped me. Some of the other things that I have found really useful is batching tasks. So like right now, for so long I'm like, I don't have enough time, or there's other projects that are more important to me than filming content, because there's different movie projects that I want to get underway, you know, and filming content can take time and takes time to edit, and I'm like, do I really want to do that right now? But one of the things that has helped me is like batching. So instead of filming a video every week, I can film videos for the entire month, make them simple, enjoyable, answer the questions that solve my most pressing pain points, and then share that knowledge with others. Recently in a film project, I'd been developing the script for sort of 18 months, and I found out that someone was developing a very similar project, and I was interviewing certain individuals around this. And for some reason, I felt like I needed to interview this person again, and I hadn't. My conscious mind was like, why are you doing this? My intuition was like, I feel it would be good for me to talk to this person. I ended up finding from this person, the producer that was working on this similar project, and now we might be working together. It's like I couldn't have anticipated 2 steps in advance. I could only anticipate the next step. So my mom's company is actually called Incremental Steps, and one of her favorite phrases is, Liam, what is the next step? You don't have to figure out the whole process, you don't have to figure out the whole movie, just what is the next step that feels aligned towards your journey, and just get started with it is one of the, I think, the most useful productivity hacks there is. One of the things that has really held me back from being my most productive self has been any sense of shame or guilt that I have found, that I've felt in my body that I've not released. I've noticed when I have meditated, gone through coaching, different therapy sessions, and have released something that I was ashamed or guilty about, I feel I naturally am more expressive and more wanting to put my work out there, and I don't get trapped by this perfectionism, because often I've found for myself perfectionism and not publishing something, not finishing something, is often because I'm scared of not being good enough. And one of the moments that really stood out of like how much time unprocessed trauma or emotions can cost people is when I went to a trauma workshop, and it was hosted by this guy, this incredible man called Dr. Trail Dowie. One of the things Dr. Trail Dowie mentioned is that people often repeat very similar patterns over and over again. They often only have like 3 or 4 relationships, and then they just repeat those with other people. And that really made me think, is like, how much time has it cost me, not processing feelings that I'm scared of feeling? And I definitely feel like that is one of the things that has held me back the most from being incredibly productive. I remember this was further reinforced when I met what would be almost like a hero of mine in the personal growth and social skills space. His name is Charlie Hubert, and he has the channel Charisma on Command. So I was very fortunate to go and visit him at his house in Malibu when I was visiting LA, talking to a bunch of directors and film friends. And one of the things that really stood out for me when I was talking to him is he was asking me about a business dispute that I had had. And it was a very unproductive thing, and it cost me a lot of time going through this back and forth with this one person who I felt was ripping me off, And one of the things when I was talking to Charlie is he asked me about what I felt during the experience versus he asked me what was my learning from the experience, what did I learn from the experience. And my knee-jerk response was to have very clear contracts. And upon reflection, it was actually, he looked at me and said, look, mate, I don't think that is, I feel like that's very surface level. And I felt a bit annoyed when he first said that. I was like, dude, I just came to have a chill chat, that's how I felt like saying. But obviously, I put Charlie a bit on the pedestal, so I was a bit more calm and just like, okay. And then once we dug deeper, he asked me, like, what did you feel when it happened? What do you think was the actual lesson from it? And a lot of it was about standing my ground, but the feeling that I was afraid to feel was the sense of terror or even anger. And I wasn't allowing myself to feel that feeling. And this was a guy who had a lot more business success than me, had achieved a lot more than me. And he was telling me that one of the things that he's noticed is often when you feel the feeling associated to the problem can almost take care of itself, and you naturally notice that your behavior shifts to do the thing that you want to do. I don't know if you've ever had it in your life when you're talking to a friend and I don't know, you eventually just surrender to the event that is causing you tension or the thing that you're procrastinating about, and then you just naturally find yourself do it. Well, it's quite a weird paradox, when you think about it, but I definitely feel like focusing on what am I afraid of if I am procrastinating or not doing something, and feeling the fear in my body. So I literally say to myself, I allow myself to feel the anger, I allow myself to feel the guilt, I allow myself to feel the shame, I allow myself to feel whatever uncomfortable feeling I feel like I am avoiding. Some of the things that I've been aware of is over-planning. I feel like I've created very elaborate planning systems in the past, and most of them have failed, and most of them have not worked. And a lot of what has worked has just been focusing on the next action that I know I'm meant to be doing, or the next action that is slightly scary but I know will be good for me. And I feel like that is a lot of what productivity is for me. Some of the other concepts that I have thought about with this is how much structure do you want with something versus how much spontaneity and flexibility. And I don't think there is a concrete law or rule, like some people would say the 80-20 principle. I very much believe it depends on what season of life you're in. And I think but some of the things that I have found useful with structure is planning, is having a long-term vision and focusing on the feelings that I want to feel, but then is also having a short-term short-term 90-day to 30-day cycle or sprint where I focus and optimize sort of most areas of life. What I have found useful is, one of the things that I have found useful is planning over a month and a week, and then also just thinking about what is the number one most important task for me to do today. What is my highlight task? What is my people can frame this in different ways. What is the one thing that I think will move the needle with everything else? In terms of being productive, one of the other things that I have found useful that you might like to check out is there's often this problem of not optimizing one's life holistically, and maybe work gets all the attention, or romantic relationships get all the attention, or your health and fitness. Like, it's very rare that you actually see someone where their life is thriving in all areas, and that is a challenge that I would like to adopt and have more of in my life, is this not necessarily work-life balance the whole time. Like, I definitely think there will be seasons where someone works more, when someone plays more, when someone is spending more time with friends and family, relaxing. There's like different seasons that people go through. So one of the things that I found useful is thinking in 30-day chunks when planning. And one of the things that I found useful with productivity is having and creating harmony with the different aspects of life. Because I feel like often if I've been burnt out because I'm doing too much of one thing and not enough of another thing, I'm like working too hard, not resting enough, or if I feel like I am stagnating, it's like I'm resting and relaxing and watching and doom scrolling mindless things versus I'm creating, So there's this balance between different things, and I'm going to share with you two tools that I feel have helped me achieve more of this balance. The first one is planning in 30-day chunks, more micro planning in 30-day chunks. And what this looks like is I basically have 11 different areas of life, and then I'll pick one thing in each of those areas of life that will signify to me that that will help me live my best life, will help me move that area of my life to a 10 out of 10. And now for some months this might vary. Like, say if I'm in the middle of a shoot and I'm directing a film, I might spend far less time with a romantic relationship, with friends, with family, going to the gym. But for that 30-day chunk, I'm kind of okay with that. But then I look at what are the minimum viable amounts in the other areas of life that I can move forward. So I don't want to neglect it completely, because I feel it's often what has held me back is often when it's been an either or, versus a less or more. And I think that is often very overlooked, because it's easier to just go, no, I'm not even going to focus on romantic relationships. I'm not even going to focus on friendships right now. I'm just going to completely focus on work. And sometimes that can be useful for some people in certain circumstances, but I've liked thinking about it. What's the minimum viable amount whilst I'm still progressing? Say if I'm progressing a film project forward, what is the minimum viable amount of exercise I can do each day? Maybe it's 15 minutes of intense sprinting, or 15 minutes of intense cardio every day, or a HIIT workout or something whilst I'm still filming the project, so that I'm not completely neglecting the other areas of life. And I feel like this has made my energy increase and helped me be more productive overall with the different things that I'm wanting to achieve. One of the other concepts that I absolutely love that has stayed with me since I did the course, and this is a shout out to Miranda, who I will link. She's got a program. I'll link the course and her program and her services in this video. But one of the things that I really learned from doing her course, Chrysalis, was around this idea of maximizing creativity, and naturally following the cycles of creative output. And one of the things that I really liked is she broke it down into 3 different sections, and it was like this infinity circle. So you had the 3 different parts of it, where you had integration, input, and output, basically. So creation or So another way of thinking of it is you have creation, consumption, and integration. And the way that and you kind of want to move through these different cycles when you're doing something. So say if I'm stuck creatively, maybe I need to consume something and learn something. Or maybe if I'm consuming too much, I'm not having an output, then I'm not being as creative, versus as well as the importance of integration, and integrating and taking time to have stillness. What these three different areas look like is integration is more like Vipassana meditation, going for a walk in the park, having a shower, talking to a friend or a coach who's helping you reflect on different questions that help you have a creative breakthrough of some sort. Doing yoga, anything that stills, calms the mind. I would even say sometimes gym or exercise if you're not listening to podcasts. So it's basically where you're having very little input and you're allowing space for different things to come through. The next thing is input, and this could be when you're having high quality input of information. Say I'm watching a movie, say I'm watching a documentary, reading a book, listening to a podcast, listening to music. That would be considered input, watching a YouTube video. The next one is creation and output. And this is when I am filming right now and I'm creating content. This is when I'm actually on set, or I'm writing, or I'm pitching to an investor. So that's kind of how I see these three different phases. What I've noticed in myself and around other people is integration is often the one that is lacking the most. Integration and creation. Consumption, a lot of people are reading the books, reading the content, watching the movies, but in terms of integration and creation, that is often where people are doing less, or I haven't been sometimes doing enough. And I think it's finding what works for you. Like sometimes we can go through different cycles in a day. Sometimes with a project, I will just be in a deep research phase and I will be researching and reading books and consuming content for almost the whole week, So I just found this as a useful model to think through when I feel stuck with something creatively and I don't feel like I'm having the output that I would like to have. So if you'd like to join Miranda's course, Chrysalis, I highly recommend. I think I've done it and she was my coach for, I think it was 3 years, and I had so much benefit, so many breakthroughs, insights, different ways my behaviors changed, and she's really helped me along my journey. So I do not have an affiliation or whatever it's called, like a referral with a referral link with her. Maybe I'll set one up in the future. I think that would actually be a good idea. But yeah, so if you wanted to check out her stuff, I highly recommend it. And what else was I going to say? One of the other things with productivity that I have found really useful is actually making time to play. And this sounds so simple, but literally setting a timer and I'm going to play for 10, 20, an hour, however long, but just including times of just complete play. That could be video games with friends, that could be playing cricket, that could be working on a project that you're just inspired by, but it's not the most important project to do right now. And leaving that time for childlike play and exploration. One of the things that I noticed with this is one of the incredible people that I saw was a psychiatrist and a shaman named Prue Blackmore. And during one of our sessions, what came up as a learning for me to integrate, because I was really suffering with headaches and a sense of anxiety when I'd wake up in the morning. And one of the things that she recommended was for me to start the day with play, and once we sort of unpack things during the session. And so I've been doing it more and more. Some days it hasn't happened, but is focusing on just setting time, whether it's 30 minutes, 20 minutes, to just play with whatever I feel creatively inspired to do. Like, it doesn't have to lead anywhere, it doesn't have to achieve anything. And I found some of the most joy that I felt creatively from doing that, and it's actually made me more productive, paradoxically. But as soon as I try to do it in a way that makes me productive, then I often feel less productive. So I think that play is often negated and not seen as important, when in fact some of the most amazing discoveries in the world have happened through play and people just having fun. Like, there's this incredible scene, and I don't know if it happened exactly like this. An example of this is in the movie Tetris. They show the main character coding the game Tetris, and the way that he did this was literally it was just for fun. He was literally just doing it just for fun in the evenings, and something that he was playing with. And then through the process of creating Tetris, obviously he created this multi-million-dollar game. I don't know what it was worth. And it became like a breakthrough and revolutionary in the gaming industry. And it just started from having fun. So I feel like play and fun cannot be underrated as a form of being highly productive, as a useful tool for keeping productivity, energy levels, and just enjoying the ride of life. So thank you so much for listening to this rant around productivity. I hope it was useful. It's things that I want to remind myself of, and I hope you found them